بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الأساتذة الأفاضل والحضور أجمع، حياكم الله أينما كنتم. معكم مدرس جمان شكيب الهلالي، قسم اللغة الإنجليزية، التربية للبنات، الجامعة العراقية. مرحبا بكم في الورشة الموسومة Writing Test Papers المقدمة بالتعاون مع الدكتور سوسن صالح سرية. The clearer and more accurate the test paper is, the easier becomes to respond to. Teachers will say that this is very easy and it is done by all of us. In fact, this is not always the case. Out of being preoccupied with a lot of responsibilities, lack of experience, shortage of time, the need to submit many test samples, and many other factors may result in a test paper which is ambiguous in its directions, inaccurate, misleading in general, very lengthy, or having any other inaccuracies. So the following are some reminding points to design an accurate test paper. The first point to pay attention to is that test papers should be free from spelling and grammatical mistakes and punctuation errors, because these inaccuracies confuse the testees a lot and badly affect the test paper, misleading the students far away from the correct answer. Another point to pay attention to is that to choose the test material from reliable sources, authentic books. For example, the passages in comprehension exams, if not taken from the textbook itself, they should be chosen from reliable sources to guarantee their language, the grammar, the vocabulary, the spelling, and the information mentioned. Another reminding point concerns numbering the questions and sub-questions and the items correctly. Well, numbering of questions and sub-questions and items may sound trivial, but it may lead to a problem inside the class. Many of us, I'm sure, have encountered such inaccuracy. The testees keep on asking about the numbering of the questions, trying to get sure, which causes loss in time. A remarkably essential point is that the directions for each question should be accurately and concisely worded. The marks should be allotted and the time for the whole test. Well, it is widely known that if the testee understands the direction, he or she can answer well and easily. And conversely, if the direction is ambiguous or very lengthy and detailed, students would keep on asking about the required task. So as to the marks and time, they should be mentioned clearly. Now, if we take an example about the direction and the clarity of direction, if the teacher wants his or her students to write the correct word chosen from among 3 or 4 choices, MCQ items, which would be accurate to write? Write the correct answer or choose the correct answer? In a question that requires completion and spaces are provided for writing in, the direction, complete the following sentences, is ambiguous. Why? Because the testee will be confused where to write the few words, on his or her answer paper or to write the whole sentence. Thus, the direction, complete the following and write the full answers in your answer paper, is the clear one. The questions should be clear as much as possible, syntactically and semantically speaking. They should not be loaded with extremely difficult lexical items or complex syntactic structures. And if it happens and there are two or three or more difficult words, the teacher may give their meanings, and the teacher may also rephrase some expressions mentioned in the questions. Another recommended point regarding test paper writing is to avoid ambiguity as much as possible. There are sources of ambiguity, and they are many. Like, for example, words that give generalizations, as in the frequency adverbs, the modal verbs, the double negatives, the indefinite pronouns, and many other sources. An example of double negatives is the sentence, "None of the experiment steps was unnecessary." If you look at the affirmative form, "all the steps in the experiment were necessary," it sounds clearer. The readability. The test material should be spaced enough and never crowded so that the testees can read easily and wouldn't miss any item. In writing test papers, an essential formula says the techniques chosen, that is, the questions, should be in harmony with the test time. Otherwise, the test would be either very long and thus tiring, or very short and thus unreliable. One of the shortcomings that should be avoided in test paper writing is poorly defined questions. In a composition test, for example, a title such as "My Family" is very general, so how can the teacher mark the answers, which vary a great deal? On the other hand, students would feel lost about exactly what to write. So, a more specific and clear title is "Which family member do you like most?" which sounds and looks well defined. The tasks required from the testees and the question types should be different so that a great number of them can answer. For example, some students prefer subjective questions, whereas others like semi-objective ones. In gap filling, where there are completion blanks, the blanks should be in harmony as much as possible with the length of the answer required. A note at the bottom of the test paper saying "Continue on to the next page" or "Please turn page over" is essential to avoid missing any question or item by the student. Far from inaccuracies and mistakes, there are recommended points I find of some relation to our topic. The first one is interest. All teachers definitely, when teaching the syllabus, notice that there are some topics, items, or sometimes chapters in literature, some themes, certain quotations or poems are favored by the majority of students, either because of their clarity, ease in presentation, or any other reason. It is recommended to include part of such material in the test paper to serve as a stimulus, attracting the students to accept the test paper. And this is also, on the other hand, supports the face validity of the test paper. The other point relates to what is known as doability. When preparing the test paper material, it is recommended to put in mind that the lower level of testees are able to answer half of the questions, and as to the other half, it is for the higher level ones. At the end, I hope that those reminding points are of use and helpful for you. Thank you for joining us, for the time you spent attending this humble workshop. Accept my best regards.